I just wanted to say a few words before you go. I know you've been sitting all day. You've been very good as far as listening to a lot of the different people. But just a couple things before you go, and I know they're going to recognize them in a few minutes. But I think all of you young people that are here today, let's give a big round of applause to all the Keystone members that have been on the planning group. They've been working on this day for about 3 months now. They've put in. You've given up one Saturday. They've given up a lot of Saturdays in planning this, so I think they've done a great job. Things have gone really well. And for all the younger people that were here today, just one thing. Why are you here today? The reason you are here today is a staff member from your club looked at you and said that person has some potential. We think maybe, or I think we can give them a little bit more, and hopefully give them some knowledge that they can use in their future. And that's really why you are here.
AM 1590 is WCGO Radio, where Chicago goes for Club Kids Radio on a Saturday morning. Saturday morning conversations, celebrity hotline conversations, and we're actually at the Output, which is on Wood and Grand, and we're at a celebration for the retirement of Leo Barron, who was the director of the Union League Boys and Girls Club 2, and he's been around for 42 years. And behind one of our microphones is Peter Castro. I like to call you Pedro. And we've been talking for a long time about you coming on and talking about your career and your music and whatnot, and hopefully we're going to do that at some point. But really what I was trying to do was get kids to come in here, talk a little bit about Leo, talk about their days at the club, and then we turn this into a radio station and a radio special, and everybody listens to it and cries and weeps. We got so many people here at the Output, and nobody in the room if I had actually paid rent, I would have been in trouble.
Yeah.
Pete, what's going on?
Not much, man. Everything is good, thank God.
Wow. So, 42 years later, Leo decides that this is it. And I started looking for you guys and inviting you to come out and pay tribute to Leo, or at least just hang with him before he rides off into the whiting sunset in Indiana. And you probably came for the furthest of anybody else. This is the second time you did this.
Yeah. No, it's awesome, man, to run to see the guys. I haven't seen Leo in, I don't know, it's been years since I seen Leo, and it was nice. He recognized me as soon as he saw me.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he said, Mr. Castro.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I sat in his office many times.
Because there's a couple of kids that came today that came up to me, and I'm sorry, I wasn't sure who they were.
Wow.
And then you got people like Noel, who's like 8 feet tall now, and he didn't used to be. Ramiro used to be the littlest Gonzalez. Now it looks like he's the biggest Gonzalez. What's impressive about you, the last 2 times we got together, is you took a drive. I mean, you don't live in the neighborhood anymore.
No.
So what motivates you to get in the car and says, you know what, if I got to go an hour and a half on the expressway, I'm going to do that?
Well, it's just, there's one thing that I always remember being taught is, to give honor to whom honor is due, and I believe that Leo, he's been an inspiration to all of us, and a lot of the things that I've done as of this point in my life, I owe a lot of that to the club, the things that I've learned there, and I valued all those things, and I put them into practice, and thank God that, things have fallen in the right place for Peter Castro.
But either one of you kind of review for us what listeners are not going to be able to take part in this little testimonial that we just heard from. We've just spent the last half hour, 45 minutes listening to people talk about this icon that's leaving us after 42 years, Leo Barron.
Okay, well, I'm Janisa. I'm 18. I'm the baby of this whole group today. And, what a lot of people are not going to get out of, being here, because you have to be here in order to actually get the feel and all the feeling that's going on in this room. Everybody was basically saying how much Leo's really, impacted people and how he really made a difference in their lives. And most of them were the guys, because, it was the boys.
Yeah, well, I was trying to get the female involved.
And then, of course, my mom, of course, next to us, had to talk a little, and then she started crying.
The neat thing about Mom was she just had her hand up waiting to get called.
Right.
Exactly. I was being polite.
Like a little kid. But it's okay. It's okay. And then she said a story about me. I couldn't even talk because she already said it.
Do you remember
it? It's
that?
okay. Actually, I do. I remember that we got into like a little fight, whatever, with the girls, and it was me and Angelica always together. And we were the only ones ended up in Leo's office, and we're sitting right underneath the buffalo, and we were just staring at it. And they're like, and Leo was like, "You need to sit there and don't move." And he's like, "I never expected this from you, sir." And we're like, "But they hit us first."
But the reason all these people are here, what you just said, is because of the impact that Leo had on all of us. Each single one of the persons that's over there in that room with him is because he had an impact on us. And we were just talking about the path that you take when you're growing up. It could be the wrong path, but you want to make sure you go the right path. You got to have some influence in your life to tell you, Hilton, you got to go this way. And he impacted so many people in that room, as well as myself,
right,
that we took the right path. And without the Boys Club and Leo and the friendships that we built in the times that we were going there, it's just something you can't explain.
And that's kind of an interesting thing, though, because you've got a lot of generations of club kids in the next room, and you guys are embracing each other. You'll meet Janisa, who's 18, and give her a hug, and you guys feel like you're bonded, even if you don't know each other.
It's just the bond that was built within the Boys Club. It's like a brotherhood. Everybody just cares about each other because what we went through, and then we see other changes that have happened to the club and everything that's changed. Like with you, Javier. When I finally found you on Facebook. It's like, wow, look at Javier, man. What a good thing he's doing.
One of the things that I do remember about Leo, that I actually didn't get to say. I came from a home with two other siblings. My mom was a single mom, and the Boys Club was like another home for me. My mom worked all day, and she really didn't spend much time with us because, she had to work and take care of us. And I remember that I used to walk from Columbus School, which was on Augusta, and I want to say it's 11th, and I would walk from there every single day all the way to the Boys Club. And I remember it was in the middle of winter time, and Natalie never wore socks. And I remember I walked into the club and I was frozen. And when I say frozen, I mean frozen. My feet were so red. And I remember Leo came on, he goes, "Why don't you have socks on?" And I was like, "I don't know." And the fireplace never ever was lit up. And I remember that day he lit it up because I had frostbite on my feet. Yes.
I never heard this story before.
Yes, right. I had frostbite on my feet, and he actually put the fire pit on, and everybody was talking, and they would sing and stuff like that, and I would just stand there and I was like, I'm so cold. He goes, "The next time you come here, you better have socks on." And I went home and I told my mom what he did, and my mom said, "Well, you better make sure you have socks on when you go back the next day." So when I went back the next day, I was going up the stairs, and he was standing at the stairs, and he's looking at me. He was watching everybody with, signing in with their club card. And I walked in, I said, and the first thing he did was he looked down to my feet and he said, "Good job."
No, I was more like I was little and I was hyperactive, so like anything Leo needed, I was right there. I was always in his office. He always had to chase me off with the staple gun because I never wanted to leave.
Get out of here.
I'm so serious. Like, he chased me out of his office. He was like, "You go with the staple gun, you remember?" And he was like, no, go and have fun. Don't help me no more. I don't have enough work. I don't need any more help. So like, I was always there to try and help him, but I'm glad that I had that sort of bond with him because, not a lot of kids at the club tried it.
Not everybody got chased with staple guns, I'll tell you that.
Well, I was one of the few, But look, to this day, he still remembers me.
Yeah. when you walked into the output today and Leo was at the door, there was recognition right away?
Yeah.
And he flashed back to chasing you with a staple gun?
No, he denies it. But I was there. But she was there and she remembers. he did it a couple times. Twice. But I mean, it was a fun experience. I'm glad he was there. And like I remember I was scared because I always hung out with the older kids. I was always with people my brother's age, and I would always be like in the A's and C's room and all that, looking out the window to the gym. And I used to always have to run and hide when.
I remember that too.
When Leo comes in, because.
I'm just. You forget things sometimes, but now I'm remembering the little window on the second floor. If you were Angelica's height, you had to climb up to something and tiptoe, and then maybe you could see into the gym.
But they had the little bench right next to the window, so it was perfect.
Wow. And then some of you guys flash back and remember the walls of the gym and the messages up. I don't know if any of you remember what was written on those walls.
Okay, I just want to share the story. I was going to share it this evening, but Natalie cut me off. No, because Natalie was crying, and I didn't want to cut her off. But anyways, I have one story that I want to talk about, Leo. In 1994, I was applying to NIU out in DeKalb, and nobody took me there. I had no way of getting there, but I was accepted. And I summoned up the courage to ask Leo, and I'm sorry if the organization gets to hear this clip, but Leo actually let me use a club van, and I was allowed to use the club van to go and go to my what is it called? My
interview?
Not school, but it was your orientation, where your parents supposed to come out and you get a view of the university. Leo allowed, I'm not going to say the driver, to drive me out there, and I promised him that I would bring him back in good condition. And so, because I was allowed to use the club van and go out and do the orientation thing, I ended up graduating from NIU 4 years later, and ended up becoming a teacher, and then ended up keep going, got my master's, and it all started with that little dream.
I would review it as really a great time, sad but happy at the same time. It's a combination of both, because Leo has given 42 years of his life to the boys and girls of Chicago. And if you think about Leo doesn't even live in Chicago, but yet he's given all his time, his dedication, and his commitment to the youth of Chicago and to help out. And to have an individual like Leo to honor, it's really, really, truly wonderful. And it's wonderful to see all the alumni come back. And as you stated before, I may not be an alumni from Club's Kid 2, if you will, but I am a product of the Boys and Girls Club of Chicago.
Because you're kind of one of those that you came in as an adult as opposed to being a kid when it came to Leo and Club 2.
Well, Leo, he's, as I told you earlier, I knew him since I was a member at the Barron Club, and then when I came over as an adult to work at Talcott, at Club 2, he took me and hired me at the game room, the Juniors and Bees room. So I was the last game room instructor there, and he gave me that opportunity. If it wasn't for Leo, I would be in Texas right now.
I remember that. Yeah. You were going to leave town.
And that's kind of Harvey's fault, but we'll get into that story. I was working for Barretto, and then I didn't work for Barretto anymore, and so I came and worked for Leo. He offered me a job at Club 2, and I stood.
So rather than blaming me, I should take the credit.
Thank you for sending me to Leo, which you didn't, but yeah, roundabout way.
Quickly, Ramiro, I don't know if you came here to talk, but you may as well.
Sure, Harv. I'm here. Ramiro Gonzalez. Got many brothers and sisters, naming Sergio, Arturo, Gonzalo, Trini, Carmen, and Delia.
You know what I'm going to remember most about you, right?
What's that?
The ping pong?
No.
My champion of ping pong of
ping pong matches?
Name it. Hold on. You name it.
Look how far he is from the mic. You know what he's going to hear.
Name it. I have the trophy at home. Harv.
No, my Ramiro Gonzalez memory.
Chess.
No.
He was a cheater.
And I still have the article. It was the Chicago Sun-Times in, I think it was 1994. Neil Steinberg, they did a 75th anniversary article on the club. And I got interviewed, and Ramiro was, I think you were 15 when this happened.
I was a little fat boy, yep.
And
same thing.
The article ended with the quote that Ramiro wanted to be, I don't know if you remember your quote, but you wanted to be something more than just some kid on the street or something like that. And the article ended with you saying that you were going to do something bigger than whoever else you grew up on the streets. That's what I remember most. You were 15 telling a newspaper guy that you were going to do something bigger than the kids on the street. Now you could introduce people and tell them what you're doing.
What's your
Yeah,
badge?
well, Leo probably, I mean, you probably won't know this, but when I first started the club, I was 3 years old. My brother Trini brought me to the club. I looked like I was 7 years old. He told you I was 6. I was 3 years old in
We
fact.
couldn't even lie with correct math.
Now I'm 32, so that's 30 years ago.
Oh, man.
And he first brought me in, and you've been great to me and to my family, and we all love you very well.
I did it for a year.
I actually remember that.
Yeah, Divine and Francisco. It was a learning curve, learning experience. You know, I lost like $40,000, but you know, I moved on. You can't let that hold you back from what you want to do. After I left there, I started working at McDonald's, and I spent 21 years at McDonald's. The last 5 years at McDonald's, I was teaching. I taught all the managers in the Chicagoland. I used to teach classes in Spanish and English, so I really love that.
That is
I worked my
fun.
way up from a manager trainee to a store manager, to a first assistant, store manager, area supervisor, and then a training consultant, working in the corporate world. So, you know, and I wouldn't have got there if I didn't have all the influences and all my friendship that I had growing up and going through the boys club.
Now, earlier you were going through your cool new phone and you were introducing me to your kids via phone. I asked Peter about this earlier. The influences at the club, how has that affected how you've raised your kids?
Oh my God!
Because I know with Mom it would have been a chancletazo and you're going to learn.
Yeah,
But we couldn't do that to you. We would sit you on a bench for 5 minutes.
You always want to give your kids what you never had, and sometimes you could spoil them by doing that. And you know, my ultimate goal was to my kids to grow up in the suburbs, and that's why, you know, I moved out 25 years ago. I moved out. I lived in Wheeling for about a year. I had a townhouse, a duplex. I was there for 3 years. Then I moved to a home about 2 blocks away, also in Wheeling. But then I wanted my children to go to Stevenson High School, which is in Lincolnshire, which is a great academic school, 19th in the country. So we built a home in Hawthorne Woods in 2001.
Wow.
And we've been there for 11 years now. And my kids they went to Stevenson High School. I have a daughter now. She's a junior at the University of Tennessee.
And there's a lot here to take. There's a lot of programs, educational activities, and things like that that'll give you the knowledge that will help you in your future life. You've heard a lot of stories today. You've heard a lot of different speakers give you some knowledge. Now, maybe a lot of it today went past you. That's fine. But in the future, you're going to have the opportunity to hear it maybe over again. Maybe the speakers will be different, but still they will be here or they will be talking to you. So realize as you grow older, you need to learn to be more aggressive in what you're expecting from your club. Take it from the club. And one of the things we're also going to expect from you in the future is that we are going to start asking you to give some of that back. And that's what all the Keystone members that planned this entire day are doing. They have been spending the last 3 months giving back a little bit, and that's what I'm sure they're hoping that you eventually will be doing too.